Welcome back, everybody, to Fatherly Fandom. I'm Chris, your host here on the show. That's Monty in the background. Tonight we're going to cover Better Call Saul Season 6, Episode 7, Plan and Execution. And holy shit, what an episode. Let's go! All right. Oh, man, what did you guys think of that episode? I'm just going to say it right off the bat. That ending was crazy. I was at work, and I watched it the first time there. And, oh my God, on break, I was like, what the? Just like screaming out loud. But it was nuts. Oh, man, seeing these pieces come together. This is the season of swan songs for me. And I'm just like, and I saw it coming the whole time. But we'll get into it. So let's start from the beginning of Plan and Execution. This episode was directed by Thomas Schnoz. I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Is it Schnaz or Schnoz? Not sure. It was written and directed by that same fella. And you did an outstanding job on this episode. So, start of the episode. On the day of the settlement for Sandpiper Crossing, Jimmy and Kim, they're scrambling to restage the photo because the mediator's arm was broken, and then they got the actor that they got to play him, his arm was not broken. So they had to retake all the photographs, get the film crew together, and we saw the old film crew, Jimmy's film crew from past episodes, past seasons before. It's really cool to see them. The camera guy was holding a lecture with prospective film students, and he was exactly like he should be as a professor or a teacher, doing a lecture like that, saying that they couldn't use the expensive camera on there. I thought that was pretty funny. So they get the old crew together and everything to refilm all this stuff, and once they take all the photos and everything, get that done. They rush to get them developed and everything, and the camera guy's like, it takes time, and they're just like pulling out the stuff, and you see Jimmy and Kim dropping some stuff, and for me at the time I was like, I couldn't remember, but that was that hallucinogen thing that they got from the veterinarian from the previous episode. So they were dropping that on the photos and everything. Put them in the envelope. Jimmy rushes out and he passes them off to the car for the PI. The PI speeds off, almost gets in a wreck. And it's Howard's PI who is actually working for Jimmy and Kim. So Howard does fall for the ruse. He gets those photos and whatnot. But before that, I thought there was a beautiful scene of Howard in the meeting room and everything. He was getting things ready. He was moving a chair and whatnot. And, that assistant or that intern, I don't know, I think he was an intern, a law student or whatnot. He comes in with all his sodas and everything, and he drops a bunch of them on the ground. And you see him picking them up and everything, and then, Howard's there, and he's like, oh, here's a little trick where you twist it, and that loosens up the carbonation so that it doesn't explode on you and everything. And he learned that from his mentor. I thought that was a nice little moment. And that was kind of when my cackles got up too. I don't know if cackles is the right word for that. Maybe not. I don't know. We're going to use it. We're going to roll with it. But that's when my spidey sense started going off, because this was a very beautiful little moment. And whenever they put these types of little character moments into this show, it seems like they're building this character up for a disaster. So at this point in time in the episode, I kind of knew that there was something that was going to happen to Howard. I didn't know what exactly, and we'll find out here in a second. So before the meeting, he gets to look at the pictures and everything. He sees who, and the PI kind of is like leaning, is like, oh, look, the envelope is the same one with that red stripe on the envelope. It's the same one that he had when he checked out of the bank with the $20,000. So he's paying somebody off, this guy in a sling as well. So Howard gets that, and he immediately, when he's touching the photos, he immediately notices there's something on it, and he looks up. I love this actor. Patrick Fabian, the guy who plays Howard, is amazing. In just his mannerisms and how he's played this character to a T. Like the eccentricities of this character are pretty amazing, and I absolutely love it. So he senses like something on his fingers and everything. He's looking at the piano. He's like, oh well, these are just developed. They're a little wet. Sorry about that. I just wanted to get them over here as soon as I could. And so he goes into the meeting and everything, and they're all sitting down. Everybody, both sides of the attorneys are sitting down for this settlement, hopefully, or the start of these settlements. They say it's going to be a long process and whatnot. And, they're waiting for the mediator. The mediator comes in, and who is it? Howard just looks at this guy, and he looks exactly like the guy he just saw in the photos. And so he confronts him, and he's like, oh, yeah, so you came here early, right? You were at this park, right? Yeah, I know. And it's like, go get me the pictures. And so his assistant goes and gets him the pictures and everything, and obviously they were swapped, so they were completely different. The mediator's like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is crazy. And so it messes up the meeting, and they end up taking the offer, a new negotiations off the table, and they, the opposing law firm is like, we're going to revert to our old offer, and after a day, that'll revert to even less of an offer, and less and less and less. So the whole thing is basically blown at this time. They have to settle. They have to settle right away, so Howard's pissed, and Cliff and Howard are compelled to accept this damn offer because, Howard screwed the pooch, and, Jimmy and Kim successfully pulled off this ruse, this trick on Howard. And so they were listening in on the cell phone too. There's a bunch of the clients that were listening in to the meeting as well, and Jim and Kim were also listening in. Meanwhile, we get to see Lalo. We see that he's back in Albuquerque, and what's really cool too is you see him coming out of a sewer, and you're like, well, okay, what's the deal with this? And then he goes into what I assume is like Flying J or one of those convenience stores that has a shower in it. And these are really cool. And I remember my best friend Matt, the other co-host of this show, after high school, before the military, he went into the Air Force eventually. But before that, he was kind of living on his own, living in his car, making ends meet. So what he had to do was he had to go into Flying J's and take showers every day there. This was a service that they actually provide. So this is a real thing. Like, people can go in and reserve a little shower in these places and get cleaned up. It's fantastic that they have these for folks that might not have a hotel or something to sleep in. So Lalo uses this one. I thought it was really cool. Like, they put in these little details in this show that you don't usually see in a show or in a movie and things like that. So it's really cool that they put that in there. You see him shower up, get ready to go. He goes in his car and he sets a little timer for about an hour, and it's a crank timer too. I like that fact. He lays back, goes off, he wakes back up, and then he goes back into the sewer and everything, and then he sets up his little area. He's got a little chair, and he's taking his binoculars out. And what do we see? We see that he's looking at the laundromat and everything. Gustavo Fring's laundromat. So he's on to exactly where everything is going down. He later takes a little video saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. It's going to be my word against his. Tonight I'm going to go in there and take out all these guards and prove to you that Gus is trying to create his own meth and do his own thing and circumvent the cartel. So he's staking out the place and everything. And at this time, he's Lalo wants to talk to his uncle and everything. So he calls his uncle in the senior center or wherever he lives. And while he's getting connected to him, he starts to hear a click. And it's very prevalent. And as soon as he hears that, he knows exactly what's going on. That line is tapped. Gus has a wiretap on there. He knows that it's Gus. So he's like, shoot, I can't tell my uncle the the real story. Theo, I can't tell Theo the real story. So basically he calls back and was like, it didn't pan out. I didn't find any evidence and everything. But tonight he's gonna have a big surprise. And so at this, like he's got his eyes fixed on the laundromat. Mike and his team come out and they work to protect Gus. Gus is out, Gustavo's out. Being a fine, upstanding citizen. Donating money and whatnot to the kids. And that's where Mike takes him aside. He's like, hey, that he's planning on doing something tonight, and he plays a recording of Lalo's phone call to his uncle and everything, and so they're expecting something to happen that night. And Mike redirects his security team from lower priority targets to protect Gus and the laundry. After that, we see Howard. You see Jimmy and Kim at their apartment, and you see this little candle. I love this about this show. It's like these little intricate details, these little shots that kind of set up exactly what's going to happen. And before Howard does show up at the door, you see it flicker a little bit, showing that like there's somebody at the door. There's a change in air pressure as well. Thought that was really cool. They fix on that, and you're like, okay, well, what's this about? And then Howard comes in, and he's like, I bought a bottle here to celebrate because we settled the case. You guys know all about it. And he confronts Jimmy and Kim about what they did. And he's like, I can't believe you guys did this. And he just taught, giving him the lecture and whatnot. And he's obviously, like, he's very disheveled, and he's very upset. And he's talking to him about all these things that they did to humiliate him, the elaborate ruse that they did, and how long it must have taken them to do this. He's like, how long did this take you? And this is here, and in this point is when he brings it up that, he is on the outs with his wife as well. It's like, oh yeah, that's in the crapper too, so might as well. And you really do feel sorry for this character. I think they've done a really good job in the last couple episodes of making you feel really sorry for Howard and the situation that he's in. And then all of a sudden, they see it pans back over to, what does it pan over to? That candle again. You see the flicker of the candle, and right then and there, I knew exactly what was coming. And we see Lalo come in, and it was like, oh my God. And Kim is like pleading with Howard to leave. It's like, get out of here right now. And they're all freaked out. And, Howard's right there, and he's like, oh, man, apparently guys are in the middle of something, and Howard knows right away that he needs to get out of there as well. And, Lalo just casually takes out his handgun, puts the silencer on. He's like, I need to talk to my lawyers and everything. That's my Lalo impression. Oh, hey, how you doing, guys? Yeah, how you doing, guys? I need to talk to my lawyers, but first I'm going to kill you. So, let me know in the comments how well that impression was. I haven't really tried it out before, but that's my Lalo. Tony Dalton, you obviously do it better than me. So, no offense there, but you are an awesome actor. Absolutely love you. And what does he do? Just in a second, he shoots Howard in the head. And at this moment in time, this is the one I was talking about earlier, I was just like, oh my God, this is the end of Howard. And this is where the two threads of this show, when the criminal element and Jimmy's world are combining even more, this is where it comes to a head. And this is where these two storylines came together. Because without this ruse, without all that they did for Howard, they wouldn't have gotten him into that apartment. They wouldn't have had Lalo there to shoot him. Lalo wouldn't have been there if it hadn't been for Gus and all the situation that he's dealing with that. So it's all coming to a head and combining together into this narrative that we're seeing. I am so freaked out, and so is Jimmy and Kim, and you feel it in that moment. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe that this happened. Unbelievable. Were the rest of you guys shocked? Leave a comment below if you were shocked about that. I was definitely shocked that they actually went through and killed Howard. Oh my God, it's just like, it seems like this is the season for everybody to get killed, which makes me very, very nervous for Kim. Again, she made it to the end of this episode, thank God. Let's have a Kim watch here. She didn't die, thank God. But I'm very worried for the next episodes that come out. We're going into a hiatus. Hey, I can't say it. We're going into a hiatus here, so we're gonna have a while before the next episode comes out. After this episode 8 premieres July 8th, so there's a little bit of time here, more than a month away until the second part of this final season airs. So it's gonna be some time before we see any sort of resolution to this series or where it's going. Like I said, I've mentioned this before, but I really wanted to flash forward to the present day, so that we get to see the end of Saul's story, and maybe they can focus in on that. But I really want Kim to make it out of the show. I really do. I love the actor, and I think her character deserves a break. I think she deserves some redemption, but I don't know if she's going to get it. It just looks like everything is going downhill as it is. And we've seen in Breaking Bad, there's really no mention of Kim, but Saul does comment that he's got a few ex-wives, so maybe she divorces Jimmy and she leaves. Maybe they're forced to make that decision to save her as well. Maybe that's something that happens. That's my prediction for what we're going to see with Kim, is that Jimmy is going to decide that she needs to leave. She needs to get out of there. Either she moves back home. I think she was from Minnesota or whatnot. That she needs to move back home. They need to get a divorce, and she needs to separate herself from this life. Maybe this is the final straw in that, seeing Howard get killed in front of them. I'm sure that something as traumatic as that would spark me, as someone who cared about someone, to get out of that situation, because I was the one who was involved with this murderer, this drug dealer, and I'd feel personally responsible, and I would want to make sure that the person I loved was safe. And even though, Jimmy and Kim have not the best relationship, and it's not the most healthy relationship, throughout the seasons, I've always enjoyed seeing them together. They do have chemistry together, and I love their dynamic. I love how much Kim cares about Jimmy, and like I said in the last episode, I think a lot of that stems from her upbringing. She's very much attached to Jimmy because of how her mother treated her growing up and who her mother was as well. We get a little bit of insight of that in the last episode as well. So yeah, he gets shot. And so with that said, this is the last episode that we'll see Patrick Fabian in, I'm sure, unless there's any sort of flashbacks or anything to the beginning of the show or whatnot. But I kind of wanted to cover Patrick Fabian a little bit here, give you guys some information about this amazing actor. Hats off to you, brother. You did an amazing job, Patrick, Mr. Fabian, with this role as Howard. I mean, you nailed it. Like, this great performance. So Patrick Fabian, he was born in Pittsburgh, and he received his Bachelor's of Fine Arts in Performance there. And then after that, he moved to California later on, and he earned his master's degree from the California State University in Long Beach, I believe. And, he's played tons of role in TV. He was on the new version of Saved by the Bell. I think he was the principal for that. That was a big role for him. He starred in films like Last Exorcist, Pig, Jimmy. He's been active in acting since 1992. He's a father like me and like Matt. He's got 2 children. He's happily married, so he's got 2 kiddos. Doing great for himself. Obviously, he's well set off as an actor. I think he's going to have awesome roles in the future. I can't wait to see him more in other roles, in other performances. He did a great job with this. I did see him in Last Exorcism, and I thought that was really good. He played this character that was a fake evangelical person that would go and perform exorcisms, and then he gets involved in a real one. Kind of a cool little movie. You should definitely check it out. He does a great job in that. Ends in a weird way, and I'm like, but it still was a really cool movie. He also played a DC voice actor, just like Giancarlo Esposito did. He played the voice of Hank Henshaw in The Death of Superman and Reign of Superman. So both of these actors have had performances in DC, voice work. It's really cool to see an actor do those type of things. And I can definitely see that. Like, he's got a very unique voice, and I do enjoy it. It's great for voiceovers, but he's a great actor too. So hats off to you, Sir, Mr. Patrick Fabian, you did an awesome job in the show. Round of applause. Well done. This was an amazing episode, a great way to send you off. Tragic as it is, and it's hard to see you go, I really enjoyed your character. I felt so much for the character by the end of this season, and it hadn't always been that way. This character started off as an asshole, and there was no likable thing about the character. And I think that's the hardest thing to portray as an actor, is to come across as such an asshole and everything. And then over time, you see that character develop and change, and eventually you start to like them, or you start to pity them, or you start to feel bad for them. And I felt a lot of those emotions throughout the seasons of Better Call Saul with this character, Howard Hamlin. And it's been an absolute joy to see. You've done a great job. So sad to see it go. Quite the cliffhanger we're left on for an entire month. And it's going to be hard to see the show without Howard anymore, but it's that part of the show is wrapped up, and I think this is going to have major repercussions in the story moving forward. So while it sucks, I'm sure this is going to get us to where we're supposed to be. So my rating for this episode, I did a 7 out of 10 for episode 6. Episode 7, plan and execution, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10. Getting close to a 10 out of 10. I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was another really, really good episode. Just like the Nacho episode. Though the Nacho episode and this episode are probably my 2 favorite episodes so far. We'll see what the latter half of the season brings us. We'll see what happens. Let me know your comments below. And if you haven't already, please punch that like. Give us a like, or take a lightsaber and slap down on that like button. Show it who's boss. Like our videos. Subscribe to our channel. Hit the red subscribe button, or you can hit the subscribe at the end of this video. It'll be on our Fatherly Fandom logo. And that way you'll be up to date with everything that we come out with. We're doing a watch party tomorrow night, Thursday night, for Obi-Wan Kenobi. We're going to be watching the first 2 episodes on Saturday. We're going to be coming to you live. We're going to be streaming live at 8 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, to go over Obi-Wan Kenobi. Me and Matt had decided to do that on Saturday. I have my kids all day Sunday, so I wanted to focus on them. Sometimes we'll do our episodes on Sunday. Sometimes we'll do them on Saturday, depending on our schedules. Again, we're 2 dads trying to fit everything in and talk about the things we love. So we'll let you guys know when that stuff happens. And it's going to be a wild ride. So the next thing we're on to is Obi-Wan Kenobi, full steam ahead. Can't wait to do that tomorrow night. I hope you join me here for the watch party. Feel free to leave comments. Let me know what you think about Better Call Saul. Let me know what you think about Obi-Wan Kenobi. We'll talk about that at the watch party. And we're gearing up to review that and have a lot of fun with that in the future. And we'll be back with Better Call Saul when it comes out July 11th, when the next episode comes out. We'll cover it that week. Hopefully I'll get Matt on. I mentioned that in the previous episode, that we're going to try to get Matt caught up with Better Call Saul. So by that point, I might have him on here and we'll talk about it together and just chit-chat about this amazing show, these Vince Gilligan shows that we really love. So it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me. I hope you have a good night. And from my family to yours, have a good night. Adios. Muchas gracias, señores.